Hey, I'm Mark. Welcome to the garage. Today we're going to change the transmission fluid in a manual transmission in a 2006 or third generation Dodge Ram 1500. Use this information at your own risk. I assume no liability. Now before we change the transmission fluid, we want to drive the car for about 15-20 minutes, get the gears shifting. Highway is preferable, that's what I like. Make sure the fluid is nice and warm so it drains freely. One thing before we get started working underneath the truck is you want to put a chock in the back of the wheels so that they don't roll back, even though I do have it in gear and I have the emergency brake on. So the first thing we're going to do with the transmission fluid change is we're going to make sure that we're able to loosen the fill bolt. And the fill bolt, because you don't want to be able to loosen the drain bolt, draining your fluid out, and then you can't fill it back up. This is the fill bolt. This is the drain bolt, okay? Where it is if you go on the passenger side, this is the door. This is the back of the passenger side front wheel. And then we go down, here's the control arm, there's the beginning of the transmission, and we go towards the back of the transmission, okay? Directly on the bottom, there's the drain plug, and then above it here is the fill plug. Some of these plugs look very similar, okay? Like this one here, okay? If you can see up in there, right? You know they're the same because it's darker. One, it's darker. Two, it's thinner. These are a little bit thinner than these other bolts that are used to put the transmission together. And three, they both take an 8mm Allen. So the first thing we'll do is we'll make sure, and I want you to be very careful when you go through here, because as you can see, these are exhaust pipes. And if you've warmed up your transmission, these are going to be hot. So I get my 8mm in here. It's hard to do on taping. And I make sure that I can crack it loose. Now that I can crack it loose, this is good. I'm going to go ahead and take out the fill plug, like so. And I like to use a thicker glove than just the regular latex gloves that I typically wear, because this fluid can get kind of hot. All right, and you can see some of it draining out already. That's fine. And now I'm going to take out the drain plug. Like so. Let's get this guy out of there. And I probably should not have taken the fill plug all the way out. I should have probably just loosened it up. It wouldn't have been so messy here, but it doesn't really matter. So now I'm about to pop this drain plug out. And here it comes. And that's all that transmission fluid. So we're gonna wait. It's nice and warm. We're gonna wait for it to drain down to the point where it gets to a slow drip, a very slow drip. And then we'll plug it back up. Draining is complete, so we're just gonna put the drain plug back. And I just like to kind of cinch it up tight. I'm on top of my car enough that I'll notice a drip. And then if it does drip, if I didn't tighten it enough, then I'll just cinch it up a bit more. Last step of the process is we are going to fill the transmission fluid into the fill hole. So to do that, we have to use this pump. And the pump, I'm under here so I can't really see it, but it has one side. Make sure you check it to see which is the side that sucks the air in and which is the side that pushes the fluid out. I've already predetermined that. The side that the fluid is coming out, or when during my testing the air is coming out, goes into the fill hole, obviously. And the side that sucks the air in is going into this container. And we're going to be doing this multiple times. I'm going to tell you right now, because I'm filming, I'm going to show this to you as a one-person job, but in reality it's going to be a two-person job, because off camera what's going to happen is I'm going to be using one hand to hold this in place so it doesn't jump out, and also observe, because as soon as the fluid starts backing out of the hole, that means I've filled to capacity. And then I'm going to go ahead and quickly grab my my fill plug here and thread it in, and then over here obviously, and then with the other hand I'm going to be using that to pump this lever here. Okay, but initially I'm just going to show you some of the pumping action, because it's not going to back out with the first few pumps. And so once you get it going, all right, so I'm in here, I'm just going to make sure that this fluid is going in. And notice I'm holding this in place because I don't want fluid to come squirting out all over me. And also I want to feel that fluid going through. So I'm going to keep pumping like so. There's going to be a little bit of residual at the bottom of this bottle, even though this tube is at the bottom. There's still going to be some residual. That's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to combine bottles for my next fluid replacement. And as you can see, this bottle is used up. So now I just do the next one. We've clearly gotten to the point where we're filled to capacity. It took roughly 3 quarts of ATF plus 4 fluid. Now we're just going to refill our fill bolt or insert our fill bolt, and we'll be good to go. And again, usually it's not this messy because I have a second person actually helping instead of holding the camera, but in this case couldn't facilitate that, so I'll just wipe up the bottom. I not only like to wipe the street obviously of where the fluid dripped out of, but I also like to clean off the bolt areas, because that allows me to see next time I'm under the car, which is quite frequently, if I've got a leak. So now we're just going to dump our old fluid into a waste can. And you can take this old oil, old fluid can to any auto parts store like Advance or AutoZone, and they have a big vat in the back where they allow you to just dump all your old fluid out in. The pump doesn't get all the way to the bottom, and I'm a cheap bastard. I like to combine that little bit of extra fluid that I missed into one. And I like to use a different brand container, that way I can distinguish what has the leftover fluid versus what is an unopened container. So once I recycle my bottles, recycle my oil, everything is filled back up, we are good to go. And that is how you change your transmission fluid in a 2006 third generation Dodge Ram 1500. Thanks for watching.